Hi, Facebook Live. I'm doing Terry Talks on Wednesday night because tomorrow, I usually do it on Thursday at noon, and I try to repost it, but I'm going to be flying back from Palm Springs, California, back to Baton Rouge. So I wanted to just jump on tonight because I'm committed to doing my Tuesdays and Thursdays Terry Talks, and I got something really exciting to share tonight. Okay, I went to a seminar this weekend, or I'm at the seminar, and it finished today, and it has been unbelievable. Some of the coaching and some of the people talking, and I don't know if you've heard of this man. He's got a website called the100mileman.com. Now, I had seen just last week, I saw an interview on The Seal. That's what this book, this man, the 100-Mile Man, if you go to his website, his name is Jesse Itzler. The guy is so inspiring. He's a billionaire. He's done all these different businesses, but his story, or his latest venture, is he hired a seal to live with him for 30 days. And the name of the book is Living with the Seal. I don't even know the seal's name because he goes by the Seal. But when he was talking, it was the most inspiring talk for me, because as he's talking, I'm realizing, some things inside myself, like, what are you afraid of? What keeps you from doing the things that you want to do? And I live a great life, but sometimes you can get complacent, or you can get comfortable, and you just don't just go after those things. So this guy, Jesse, okay, the guy is crazy. So he's telling us a little bit about his life and how he created this airplane company, and he sold it to, he sold that to Warren Buffett. And then he did a couple of other things, but they're all on his website. But this was the story, the most recent thing he did that was so cool. Well, he just felt like his life had become a little bit complacent because he'd kind of achieved all his goals, and so he's a marathon runner. In fact, he ran 100 miles. And so thanks for the thumbs up. I can't tell who's watching me because I'm in a makeshift on the porch of my hotel room, okay? So back to the seal. All right, so Jesse is running this race, this marathon. Hey girl, hey Ashley. He's running this marathon, and I think it's 100 miles. Obviously, it must be 100 miles if he's a 100-mile man. And you come up to this race, and you're supposed to bring your own supplies. And I said, he had just sold this fleet of planes, or this business, to Warren Buffett. So he just had Whole Foods bring food, and he had, all the supplies. So he was ready to go. Now, he runs every day of his life. This guy is so disciplined. And so as he's deciding to do this run, he noticed this guy next to him. The guy was African American. He had nobody on his team. There was everything about him was oh my gosh. He had a box of crackers and some water and a chair. And so he's sitting there thinking, okay, he doesn't have food. He's going to run 100 miles. He doesn't have a team. It's just him. How's he going to do this? So about, I don't remember the exact mile, but something like 70, around that. The guy stopped. He sat down in his chair, the seal. And as he sat down in his chair, Jesse said he looked over at him and he realized his toes were broken. The man's, every toe in his foot was broken. He's sitting in his chair, but all of a sudden he pulls out a roll of duct tape and he starts taping up his toes. And so he's watching him going, oh my gosh, we need to airlift this guy out of here. His toes are broken. But the guy is taping his toes to get back in the race. So the guy gets up, folds up his chair, gets back in the race, and finishes. So he said he finished the race and he thought to himself, I've got to know this man. I've got to know what is inside this man that he would be able to tap into his own power and run a race like this. And now this is a man that, when you listen to his story, this man is not scared. He cold calls on anybody. He is not scared. So for him to see this man and say, I got to have what he has, you're thinking, how do you get any more than you already got? So as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, I used to be a little bit more like that. Where did that part of me go? I graduated when I was 16. I finished college when I was 20. I got my contractor's license, when in a man's world, and built houses. And where's that part of me? Where did that part of me go? Because I got complacent. That's what happened to that part of me. I didn't have that drive. I let that drive, or that excitement about life. So as I'm listening to this story, so Jesse goes and he looks this guy up and he says to him, he calls him, cold calls him, he says, man, I need to meet you. And he said, well, if you come to my house, I'll give you 15 minutes. So Jesse gets on a plane that night, goes and sees the man. So he's visiting with the man and he says, I need to know what it is that would possess you, would get you to run a race and finish strong like that. And the guy's sitting there, and then Jesse realizes, I can't learn what I want to learn from you from 15 minutes. He said, would you consider like living with me and my family for 30 days? And the guy said, the seal. He sits there and he looks at him, he goes, you are crazy. He said, because you about that crazy, then I think that I'm crazy enough to do it. So his wife didn't know, his kids didn't know. He brought the seal home. The seal lived with him for 30 days. It went on. You'd have to read the book to hear all the things. He told some of them. But when I tell you, he got this man to do things that he had never done. He said, you know, I'm a runner, but like, I don't do pull-ups. I don't do push-ups. And this is what he learned, that we exert 40%. Okay, and this is a man that like is already radical and out of the box. But the seal's point is you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get, if there's something you want, you got to go get it. And so my question, this is my question. This is the question I ask myself. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is it I'm afraid of? What is it that would stop me from going to get whatever it is? Would just get like settled. So I just ask you, who's coaching you? What are you building? What are you building in your life that'll be here when you're gone? What are you building that's your heart's desire? What is it that you came here to do that you're supposed to fulfill? What's on your bucket list? What is it that you've been just cannot wait to do, but yet you're not doing for whatever reason? And so that's what I want to ask you tonight, because that's what I ask myself. And I realized, look, I worked out tonight. That's why I'm in these clothes, because after this guy talked, I was like, I'm going back to the gym. I'm going to the gym. This guy, I mean, if he can run a marathon, go 100 miles with broken toes, I can certainly go back to the gym and do a couple of miles. So it's like, where do you need to get outside your comfort zone and go get what it is you came here to do? And this is what I realized. I have a dear friend of mine that I worked for years. She was very wealthy, very loving and giving, and she died at a young age. She died about 5 years ago. She died around 50. And I remember I went to Red Mountain Spa with her in Utah about, I don't know, 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, whatever. It's probably, yeah, about 20 years ago, right about the time I had my son. And I remember she and I were talking one night, and she said to me, Terry, what are you afraid of? And we weren't really even, I was thinking, well, I don't know, I had to think about it. And I remember sitting there thinking, I'm not afraid of dying. And she may have asked me, are you afraid of dying? But she brought up the question, what are you afraid of? And she said, what are you afraid of? And I said, well, you know, I don't know. Most people are afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm afraid of dying or getting to the end of my life and not have lived. And I never thought about that thought again. I never really thought about that question until today. And then it just kind of hit me. What is it I'm here to do? What is my assignment? Am I fulfilling it? If I get finished, when I get to the finish line, have I finished strong? Did I fulfill what I came here to do? Certainly we came here to have our children. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can answer that we don't have to dig inside to find out. But we all came here to do things that only we can do, that are assignments that God gave us. And so that's my question to you tonight. What is it that maybe you've gotten complacent or comfortable or just won't get outside of your comfort zone to do? So leave me some comments below. Let me know, what is it that you feel like you haven't been doing or that you want to do, or share what may be stopping you from what it is you want to do. I'm just saying, it's time to get outside your comfort zone. It's time to go get what you came here to do. Thanks for listening. I'm going to post this again tomorrow. Let's see. Will you finish more for more? We wish you more time. So I'm going to read y'all's comments below. And thanks for watching. And I'll see y'all on Tuesday.